I'm Janet.
I'm Jasia.
I'm Rachel, and this is What is Happening.
Hi guys, so we're back after like a 6 month hiatus or however long that was, because we're all capable of organizing our time and making sense of time zone differences. But here we are.
So we're all in uni now. Oh my God. Crazy. So crazy.
It's been
It
way too
doesn't feel like
long.
it actually. Yeah.
Where do we leave off of last time?
I have no clue.
Yeah, no, I remember. It was real world problems.
What do we
Maybe.
talk about
What?
then?
Okay. I don't even know what we're
Yeah, it
talking
was
about.
no, it was real world problems, and JCA was talking about how this person in like the cafe or something said you had a deep voice.
Oh, I remember. Well, okay. It's great. How long ago was that? That was, let's check when we last posted. March. March.
Oh
March.
shit! Oh damn! It's been more than 6 months. Shit, that's
It
like
feels
a
like
whole
six
last
months.
year ago. Wait,
That's
I did
10,
not realize it was.
that's
Oh
like
shit!
10 months? 10, 10 months. Maybe nine to 10 months. Oh wow, that's so long ago.
Damn, we're so consistent.
So since
Consistently good at not recording episodes.
yep. So since March of 27th, what have we done? Wow.
Well, IB exams happened. We had a
I
long ass summer,
mhm,
and now we're at uni. We moved to
mhm,
different countries.
mhm.
Well, two of us have. And how do we want to do it? Do we want to do it chronologically? So like beginning from like March until most recent.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Sure. Yeah.
We
We
revised
can
for our IB exams.
mm, we can talk about our exams first. How we thought. No, we know how we thought about that.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm sorry about it. We recorded an episode after the exams, but I lost the recording. I lost the
Oh,
file.
did we?
We did.
Oh
And then I
shit.
lost the
We
file.
did.
And that's
Oh.
why we have
It
such a big gap between our last post and this.
happens. It happens.
Mhm. So, exams. I thought they were fun. I didn't actually, I don't know. Well, I mean, now that it's over, I'm just like, okay, whatever. It was exams. But I think at the time, I was very like, hmm. Okay, I didn't actually think I would do as well as I did. Although, like, I got the same PG, which is fine, whatever. But I didn't think I would do as, like, I thought I did worse. But it turns out I didn't.
I feel like for our exams, it was slightly easier. Some of the exams compared to the
I was
past
way
papers.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah. But then afterwards, I just felt like I did really bad. Like, how did you assess how well you did, like after the exams? Because in LPC, we had like big glass windows. I would use my whiteboard marker, write down each subject, what I think I'll get according to my performance, what I think I'll get for each paper. And then I had a mental breakdown after every single paper. Yeah,
Um,
it was not good.
I think that's just your personality as well, though. Like I think you have the tendency, well, at least out of all of us, to maybe not underestimate yourself. Well, I'm pretty sure you know that you're able, but then a lot of the times you like tend to overthink and worry. Well, that's my impression of you at least.
That's true.
Like you're more uh neurotic in the sense that, yeah, you tend to worry about things when maybe from a third perspective, it seems like you should have things under control, or you do have things under control. But then you don't realize that most of the time.
New Year's resolution, I guess. How about you, Janet? How did you feel after the exams?
I don't know. The exams are fine for me, honestly. I, oh, it sounds so like it's like, bro, but I didn't really feel much during the exams. I think I was pretty okay after each exam. Like, I knew that regardless of whatever the outcome was, I'd be content because I knew that I tried my best. And even if my best meant that I didn't do that well, I would have been okay with myself either way. So I guess in that sense, I was fine. But obviously, talking about it now, I wasn't as calm as I'm like putting myself out to be, but I think relatively I was quite calm compared to other people. I remember making a pre-exam hype playlist. It was just full of like hype songs. So as I was taking the train to school, I would start the playlist at Tai, and it was exactly 15 minutes to hang on, including 5 minutes from the station to like the pack. So my playlist was 20 minutes long. I'd start the first song at Tai, and I just hype myself all the way to school to get pumped for the exams. Then the best song on there was Jack Harlow, What's Poppin', the remix. And that would get me so pumped for the exams. And that was like what, you know, how I prepared myself and put myself in the right state, I guess. So I was more so excited to get it over instead of worried that I was going to do it. And I think that did help in some ways.
Were there any fun exam stories? Like anything happened in your exam? Because I have one.
Oh no, actually I do have one, but you can say yours first.
So in LPC, the year 12s, they have their formatives at the exact same time as us. Have I told you guys this story before? Okay. So
Maybe,
the
but
year
you can keep
12s
going.
have their formatives at the exact same time as we're having our like real IB exams. And because we have no like other venue for them to take their exams, they take it in the same venue as we're taking our real exams. So as I was doing my econ exam, the person was like, you have 5 minutes left or something like that. And then after he said you have 5 minutes left, he turned to the year 12 and was like, you are about to start your science paper. Turn to page blah blah blah. And then he was just like talking about the instructions right there as I was trying to frantically write my last paragraph. And it was not a good situation. And this happened for like majority of my exams. So the year 12s are just having their mocks and disturbing our actual real IB exams at the same time. I don't know how they allowed that to happen, but yeah, it was very stressful.
Well, that's terrible. For us, um, okay, was it math or I think it was math. So you know how for math there's two sections to the paper. There's one section where you actually write on the paper in the box provided, and then section B where you do all the long questions. There's a separate lined paper that they give you.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I'm not gonna name this individual, but okay, the exams were ending, and you know at the end how you had to clip all your papers together with that little green tag thing they gave you with the cover sheet as well with your name and etc etc. So at the end, this guy, maybe he was like too invested in section B because you usually do that at the end. He only clipped section B to his cover sheet, and he put his section A bit with the formula booklet. And JC, I'm not sure if you remember, but they told us to separate the piles so that one was on each corner of the table, right? So he clipped the section A bit with the formula booklet, which they take back and they don't send off, right? But he clipped his cover sheet only with the section B bit and put it there as the exam paper that the
Oh
school
my
would send off to
God.
IB to mark. And he didn't realize. And of course, I didn't realize as well. So I was just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, when we were about to get up, Miss Kumar comes rushing in. Like she doesn't rush in, she runs towards this guy and she's like, what the fuck? Where's the section A? Where's the section A? And then the guy's like, dude, what do you mean? And then like he checks and he's like, oh shit, my section A is not here. So she runs to the front. She goes through the pile of formula booklets to find his section A, takes it off, and then attaches it back to where it's supposed to be so that it gets marked. So then I'm like, dude, you have to thank her. Like, imagine if Miss Kumar didn't realize.
Or if she didn't check
And
like thoroughly.
and she didn't check the booklet exactly. And they just sent off half of what's supposed to be there. And he's gonna get like what? Half of the grade that he's supposed to get. I was like,
Tell us
I
who
was
it is.
trying
Tell
so
us who
hard
it is.
not to laugh. I'll tell you guys later, but I'm not gonna say here just because, But
That's
dude,
crazy.
that's so okay. It's funny, but it's also so stupid. Like, how do you not realize? Okay, to those listening, I just typed the guy's name in the chat. That's why.
Shout out to you if you're watching and listening,
That
listening
is
to our
so-
podcast.
I'm
It's
not
such a him
surprised.
thing to
I am
do,
not
honestly. Yeah, exactly.
surprised.
I remember saying that, like, that is such a you. Like, if anyone were to do that, it would have been
It's
you.
him. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh my God.
But actually, I have
Crazy.
another story for my Chinese exam. So it was Chinese exams, and there's two texts. My Chinese is shit. So without even thinking about what the text type was, I just chose the text type with the least amount of Chinese words. Because I knew that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like you guys shouldn't mute yourselves. Because then.
Yeah, we need some
like, for
reaction
example,
noises.
when we're like
Rihanna saying
laughing
the
and
stories,
Okay.
we're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyways, so this was the Chinese exam. I did the paper that had the least amount of Chinese words, and I was sitting quite at the back. And the only person, not the only person, but one of the few people behind me was Jamie. And turns out we both chose the same text. It was this big ass yellow poster, like this
thingy, yeah.
ugly ass poster that was
Yeah.
yellow with some words on it. I was like, what the heck is this? So I chose it because it had the least amount of words. And as I was starting to write my paper, I look around and I noticed that nobody else is doing this text.
Exactly.
And I was like, what the fuck? It's just me. Because I was sitting at the back, so I could kind of see what everyone else was doing. And I was the only one doing that text. And I was like, okay, fuck it. It's too late. I've already started 2 sentences. If I erase these 2 sentences, I won't be able to finish this. So I just kept writing and kept writing and kept writing. And it was a poster about this. It was an ad about this city telling people to like come, and honestly, I don't remember, but it was just this Chinese city. And I just kept writing. And halfway, I realized I've been writing the name of the city wrong the whole time. And the funny thing is, I couldn't even read what the name of the city was. I did not know what those 2 words were. I knew it was a city. I couldn't read the name. I couldn't read most of what the contents were. I would just guess. I was like, okay, this probably means this. So I just kept writing in that way. So then at the end of the exam, I got up. I was like, oh shit, I'm fucked. Nobody else is doing this text. And I turned around and Jamie is also doing that text. And I was like, yes. And the both of us, as soon as we left the pack, we were like, oh, we were both stressing about how nobody else is doing this text. But Jamie saw that I was doing it and she felt more relief. And the funny thing is, we both didn't know how to read the city's name. We both didn't know what most of the text was about. But hey, we pulled through.
I
So-
remember you telling me after the Chinese exam, I asked you and you're like, yeah, I chose the second one. And I was like, wait, why would you choose the second one? And then you're
Yeah.
like, no, and then what you told me, you're like, I was laughing as I was writing through it. You're laughing at what you're writing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was laughing. Because I couldn't believe I was sitting in this exam, knowing that it would determine my final grade, not knowing what the text was about, and not knowing what I was writing. I just kept throwing in as many of those like sparkly weasel words that like when teachers see, they're just like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. Tick. I just kept throwing as many of those into my paper as possible, even though it didn't make any sense. And somehow I still managed to pull through. So I think that's testament to how sometimes fake it till you make it, you know?
Agreed. Moral of the story.
That's true.
But yeah. What happened after exams?
Graduation.
Right. We had
I went to your grad.
which was on your
Remember?
birthday.
It was on my
Yeah.
birthday. Graduated. Oh my God. I'll never forget that I graduated on my 18th birthday. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. It was a good
I don't
grad
really
though. It was kind of
remember from
hectic.
grad. I expected to cry, but I didn't. So
I didn't eat. Did I cry? I don't think I did. I
same.
didn't.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think I
I
did.
ever cried. I was just like, damn, I probably won't see many of these people in a
Yeah.
long ass time.
It's like I don't know why, but I don't have like a big attachment to the I mean, do I? I don't know. I liked our year, but I don't have a
Mm.
like a huge attach like if I don't see them, okay, I don't see them, whatever. Like
Same.
okay.
I think
But
it's
yeah.
more of maybe it's not attachment to the people. I think it's just attachment to the idea that you're leaving secondary and this next chapter
Yeah.
of your life is beginning. It's more
Yeah.
of like a that thing, at least for me. But then we had a long ass summer after that for like what 4 months. Well,
Or
and after that, what we were doing was having our summer, but also waiting for results to release,
mm,
which was halfway through our summer, I think, maybe like 2 months after that,
it
or
was like in
maybe a month and a
June. No, it
bit.
was July.
July,
Was
yeah,
it July? It was July,
I think
yeah.
so. It was I remember it was at 8 p.m. and like results
Oh
day.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, results day. Like I was never really that nervous about or anything, but like results day, the nerves started to kick in, and I found myself like, oh, refreshing Reddit. You know how people made those spreadsheets of and people in different time zones already knowing what they got, or
Yeah.
people's
Yeah.
teachers releasing the results earlier a day before because the
Yeah.
school had our results already. And I was looking in the morning. I saw that to get a 7 in Chinese A, 79 was the lower boundary. And I was like, wait, that's kind of low. And then I had a little bit of hope in me, but then I kept doing all the calculations and I was like, nah, there's no way I'm getting 79. So then I just kept refreshing, and more subjects started like kicking in. And I was like, okay, this is okay. Maybe this one. I didn't know about this one. And then 8 p.m., I locked myself in my room and opened my results. I don't know how you guys open your results, but
No, I did that too. I remember. I was like, it was almost 8. And did I? Oh, so I ate dinner because I eat dinner like at my grandma's house, right? And we're neighbors. So I literally like gobbled my food. No, I was like, can we eat dinner like an hour earlier so that I could go check my results? So then, I finished dinner and went back home. I had to feed my cats. So I had to feed my cats. But the thing is, I have to wait for my cats to finish eating before I can leave. So I was like sitting there and it's like 5 minutes for 8. And I was like, please hurry up. So then afterwards, I went like to my room. I was calling my boyfriend, and then, but the thing is, like, because there's so many people on the website, like it takes so long. So I kept on refreshing. I refreshed for like 10 minutes, and I finally saw it. And because, like, I think, because for us, like, if we were doing, because I only applied to the UK, so it's like our grade is depend on like whether we get in or not. But I was like, I mean, I knew I was gonna get in, but I just wanted to know my grade. Yeah, but then I saw it and I was like, okay. I was like, yay, I got it. And my boyfriend was there, like he was like crying, he was like so happy that I got the grade. I was like, okay. I was like, I got it. I was like, I'm in. Yeah. I mean, so and then afterwards I called my parents, like, yeah, I got this. And then my grandma's like, okay, come over. I'm gonna give you some chocolate. I was like, okay. So yeah, that was like how the results went for me. Wasn't anything like much.
For me, it's different. Okay. It starts from the day before. I was reading up on other courses I could do because I was certain I fucked up the exams. I was 100% certain I was not going to get the grade I needed to get into med school. So I was looking and I was drafting. I actually still have the document. I was drafting my like appeal letter to CU and HKU, both like a different appeal letter that is specific to the school to send to them when results are released. And I can just send them off and be like, please still accept me in, although I didn't
Oh
get
my
the
God, you're
grade.
crazy. You're
Yes.
crazy.
And I cried that night. I was like, fuck. I should have tried harder. And then the next day, because we get our results at 8 at night, right? But the day after, at around in the morning time, afternoon time, I got a call from CU or was it HKU? I forgot, one of the schools, and they're like, "Yeah, well, like we want you." Or and then there's a notification on the like portal that was like, "Yeah, you've been accepted to this program. Click here to like confirm your enrollment." I was like, "Wait, that means I already got in, right?" So it doesn't matter what my grade is anymore because they already want me, right? So then I told my parents, and they're so happy. We went out to get steak, and we went out at like 6. So when we finished eating, it was like around 8. And then I was like, nah, I don't want to check in the middle of the streets. And then we just went home. It was like at 9 or 10 before I checked my results. And then I checked, and my sister was filming a video of me. My parents were behind me as I clicked open the website. And that was how I checked my results. And my sister has the video of me opening my results. Yeah. So that's the story. So it wasn't that climactic for me because I already knew I got into my uni before I saw my results.
Well, the thing for me was similar to JC. I only applied through UCAS because I was lazy to apply to other schools because that would mean I'd have to write another personal statement since I would be applying for different subjects.
Oh
So
my
I only applied
God.
through UCAS because that only required me to write one personal statement. And for the school that I firmed and for the school that I chose as my backup option, I sort of knew that I would probably get in, like if realistically, if I was being, honest and like realistic with my expectations, basically, I knew I would probably get in. It was just a matter of what I got to get in. So like by that point, it would just be like I don't know, like a personal, like closure, not necessarily like my life depends on this. But yeah, I opened the website. I locked myself in my room. I opened the website and I remember the first row of results was Chinese. And I saw that I got a 7. And I was like, what? Am I on the right site? Then I kept looking at all my other subjects because I had an idea of what I was going to get for the other ones. And I was like, oh shit. So then I unlocked my door. I ran out to tell my dad. And my mom wasn't home at the time. So we FaceTimed her. And then we had like a yay, like a yay moment. And then I left to like meet up with my friends to like celebrate that everything was over. Yeah.
Great.
Nice.
What do we do after exam release? We're not very good with transitions.
Oh, they're so bad at transitions. Anyways. What happened after exams? Summer. What did I do in the summer? I went on a grad trip. That was fun. Yeah.
I just did a bunch of things during. I think this was the best summer I've had so far. I mean,
It's
you'd
the last
expect it to
summer
be, right?
that
It's
we
like
can
exactly.
actually relax.
Well,
That's true.
I wouldn't say this is the last summer we can actually relax. Like there will be pockets of time where we can relax, but this is definitely the summer you'd expect to have the most fun in. And that did
Yeah.
happen. So and it was the longest one. I feel like summer being so long kind of fucked me up though. Because like when I got to uni, I forgot how to work. It's like what is
Oh my
what is
God, me
work?
too.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm.
Like what is life if not doing nothing the whole day? You know? That was sort of the state that having a long summer kind of pushed me in. But yeah, I wouldn't, you know, I'm not complaining. I guess
Yeah.
I sort of am. But
Oh, should we tell our listeners where we are right now? We have not said
All
what we're
right.
studying and where we're at.
So, Rachel, would you like to begin? Since you already mentioned you were in med school.
I am in HKU studying medicine. Yay.
Janet can go
So-
first.
Jasia and I are both in the UK, as we mentioned, and I'm in London. I'm at LSE studying psychological and behavioral science. Which I
Fancy.
actually have a story about because I wasn't originally supposed to study this, but we can get to that later.
And you can tell it now.
No, you can say where you are first, and then
No,
I'll.
you can. Okay, okay.
Just say
Hold
it.
on. Okay. I am in Loughborough. People will be like, where the fuck is
Loughborough.
that? Loughborough.
Low bro.
It's like in the middle. It's like in the middle of the UK. And I'm studying graphic design.
Yay.
Now you guys know who does
Yay.
all our graphic stuff because Rachel
Me.
and I could never.
Me, bitches.
Yeah, so right. Onto my whole switching thing. Ugh. This was a source of immense stress and uncertainty leading up to the beginning of uni. So okay. Essentially, I was aiming for human sciences at Oxford. And yes, Oxford reject. I was aiming for human
Yay.
sciences at Oxford. And I don't know what happened. I think I got so caught up in the whole like, oh wow, Oxford, like human science. Like I do love the subject. I got so caught up in that. It basically became the only thing I focused on in terms of uni applications. Not in terms of uni applications, but in terms of what I thought I wanted to do. And I was just basically in UCAS, you do 5 schools. And that was the only one I was focused on. And the 4 other schools, I was kind of like, you know. So I didn't really do much research, which is bad. But I did watch one YouTube video of a girl who got into human sciences at Oxford. And I saw that for her other options, she put UCL human sciences. And for LSE, she put anthropology and law. So without thinking, I was like, despite me not knowing what the fuck anthropology was, I was like, hey, she got into human sciences at Oxford and she did anthropology and law as her option at LSE. So that must be the course that's most similar to human sciences, right? So for LSE, I'll just put anthropology since I don't want to do law. So I put anthropology down. And lo and behold, I didn't get into Oxford. I did get my UCL offer for human sciences. And well, it was between LSE and UCL basically for what I was going to firm. And at the end, I was like, I like the UCL course more, but like, LSE, you know, like, it's so stupid, but like, LSE. So then at the end, I was like, you know what? I don't know what the fuck anthropology is, but I'm sure I'll be fine. So I put anthropology as my firm choice. And I forgot what I put as my insurance. It was between Durham and Manchester. I think Manchester was also anthropology, like don't ask. But Durham was human sciences. It was one of the two. So leading up to going into uni, I began booking tickets. I started packing. I wanted to like know what I was gonna learn, you know? So I started going to the uni site. I looked at the syllabus and I was like, what the fuck is this course? What the fuck is this? There are modules about like not like no offense to like anyone who like likes anthropology, it's just not for me. Like if it's not for me, it's not for me. Like I can't imagine doing graphic design in the same HAC. I probably can't imagine doing medicine, right? So
Mm.
I looked at the course and I was like, what the fuck is there's this module on like film, there's this module on like religion, there's this module on like globalization. Okay, globalization and stuff I do like. There was just a bunch of modules about like sex and like kinship and stuff, and I was like, what did I sign myself up for? This is not what I expected. Like human sciences is like a biology, there's like demography, some like psychological stuff, right? And that was what I thought I was in like going for. Because basically I was interested in human behavior, which to a certain extent anthropology is, but the way that you do it just wasn't for me. So I was so stressed. I was like, am I really going to subject myself to 3 years of doing this shit that I simply can't get myself to do? So I started sending emails to like department heads, and I started researching like, oh, is it common to like switch courses in uni and stuff like that? And all the websites were like, oh, it's not common in the US. In the UK, it's kind of like rigid and stuff. And I was stressing. I was like to a point where I was considering taking a gap year just to reapply because I just couldn't imagine myself doing it. So I came, and for welcome week, I was still enrolled as an anthropology student. And all of a sudden, I get an email from the PBS department, which is psychological and behavioral science. Oh, actually, I need to add this in. Psychological and behavioral science. I love this course. This is LSE's human sciences course. Well, the equivalent of it basically. But I never knew it existed. One, because I didn't do research, as I said. But the main reason was because social anthropology, there's like, let's say there's 10 pages on the LSE undergraduate course site. Anthropology was probably on like the second page, and I stopped. And PBS was on like the last page. And I just never scrolled to the last page.
Oh my god.
So I didn't know that course existed. But yeah, I had to do an interview with the heads of departments and like with the teachers and shit. And I had to do an interview with my academic mentor, tell him why I wanted to switch without being rude. And yeah, so here I am. I switched. I love my course, and I'm not thriving, but I'm holding on. I am okay. That was my
that's good.
Yeah. Moral of the story: do your research, and don't be like me. Don't
scroll to the end of the page.
Scroll to the end of the page. Don't be so tunnel vision about what you want to do, because I think, well, looking back now, it might be hindsight bias, but looking back now, don't tie your identity in so much into like the course you want to do, right? Because to some extent it was like honestly it was like a pride thing, if I'm being honest. Like, you know, it's hard not to be sucked into like the whole prestigious thing, you know, with like the school you go to and stuff. Yeah, it's really difficult. But like, as much as I understand it's hard to not get sucked into it, like it's okay. I think being ambitious and having a drive to strive or do the best for yourself is one thing, but tying your identity into things like this is another thing. Because as soon as you identify yourself as someone who has to get into these schools, it's so hard for you to sort of get out of this black hole, essentially. Yeah. It's so hard for you to not, well, to keep everything under control in terms of your emotions, or just in general having a clear picture of where you're going and the direction that you're going. So that would be my, I guess, piece of advice for anyone who is applying for uni, or who, you know, just life in general.
Yeah.
It's better to identify as someone who is open to change, I guess,
Yeah.
or open to new experiences, because you never know what that would bring. I am still doing an anthropology module, just saying. It's my outside outlet, but it's not the focus of my course. I just didn't like every aspect of the course. Anthropology is interesting, but hey.
Yeah. And like I feel like so like the top school or like your dream school might not actually be the school for you, if that makes sense. Like, because
Mm.
I've seen it with some people, like some of my friends are like they go to like they've always wanted to go to school, or like they get like a really good like offer from the school, and when they actually go, they're like, I fucking hate it here. Like it's terrible. Like they hate the course, they hate the people, they hate the teachers. So I think it is like really important to do your research, but also just to like trust the process, like
Mm.
and trust your gut. Like if deep down you really like don't want to do the course, or like you won't be happy doing the course, then don't do it. Like even if the offer is so good.
Mhm.
And like, okay,
I agree.
I'll give an example. I think you guys might know her, but I won't say names obviously, but basically like she got scholarship, like full scholarship to the school. Yeah. So a full scholarship to the school. And but it's like a course that, like, knowing her personally, it's a course that I know she wouldn't actually want to do in the future. But because it's like they're giving her full scholarship that covers also like resident fees and stuff. Like she's like, why not just take up the offer? Because one, she doesn't have to pay for tuition, she doesn't pay for residence fee, she only has to pay for like her like regular expenses. But like I talked to her and like a month ago, 2 months ago, she's like, I hate this course.
Mhm.
Like she likes the friends that she made, and she likes like living there, but she just knows that the course is like definitely not for her. And I see it myself, like she is definitely better off doing whatever I think she like, or like I know that she wants to do. So, just because like you get like a really good offer that is probably like really like good in terms of like supporting yourself and like your family in terms of like finance or whatever, like I told her, if you're not happy doing it, don't do it.
Mm. That's odd though, because well, obviously you know her better, but I actually thought that was a course that she wanted to do,
Oh,
because she just seems like that type of
but yeah,
designy, you know,
yeah, but then
artsy. But I also
yeah,
see
I
her
feel like
doing something like a history or something.
that's true. She is very like well-rounded in a sense.
Mm.
But I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I don't really see the like uh, it's also like hard because then also there's yeah, I don't know. There's no point of doing like wasting your time doing something you like absolutely hate, or like you just don't want to do. Like if it's not benefiting you, then like why do it? And like sure, like you might have like made some friends or you really like living there, but that doesn't mean you can't like still be in the same area doing a different thing, or
That's
like
true.
switching your course or just like reapplying next year, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that like the good things about uni that you've just listed, like the people you meet, like making new friends, new memories, new experiences, like this isn't necessarily tied. Well, it isn't. It isn't tied to what course you do. Like this is going to happen most likely, regardless of what course you're doing. This is more of a byproduct of uni, more so than a byproduct of the course you're doing at uni. So yeah, be, I guess, flexible in what you want to do and make sure that you're doing something that you do enjoy. Because like for my case, I just got lucky. Like they could have easily said no, and I would have been stuck on my course. Like
Mhm.
what would I have done then? You know? So
Yeah.
Like on another note, I know that not everyone is as lucky as us to be studying something that we're interested in. Like I have a few friends
Mhm.
who like could not get into uni for various reasons. And I think that like for people who like year 12s, year 13s who are listening to us, I think it's important to know that like yes, the IB is important, but there are also other ways if you don't do as well as you think. Like
Mm.
you can reapply, you
100%.
can take a gap year, you can like get into uni first and then try to switch your course. There are other ways, so don't
Yeah.
put too much stress on yourself. Just do
Like
your
it's
best.
really not the end of the world. Like you
Yes.
think
Yeah,
it's
it
the end of the
really
world, but
isn't.
it's really not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think especially because we come from Hong Kong, like on the topic of gap years, the amount of people I know in my year right now at uni who took gap years is insane. Like this is not so much a Hong Kong thing. I don't think it's common in Hong Kong for people to take gap years, but the amount of people who did take gap years that I know, there's so many people. Like if you take a gap year, if you're unsure of what you want to do, or if you didn't get into the course you like, don't hesitate to try again. Well, obviously there's
Yeah.
also the obstacle of what your family might want you to do, maybe a financial situation, maybe, obviously there's a lot of other factors you have to consider. But I think the first obstacle you have to overcome is, you yourself. Like maybe, well, knowing how I thought back then, I wouldn't have considered a gap year because I think it's almost as if it's sort of stigmatized in Hong Kong. Like, why would you take a
Yeah.
gap year?
Definitely.
Did you not get good grades? Like, why are you wasting a year of your life? Like, it's not wasting. I think especially at this age, it's important to, as cheesy as it sounds, like discover yourself, to just to collect your thoughts and understand where your head is at. I think it's really useful. Like looking back, if I knew this many people took a gap year, I would try my best to convince my parents to let me take a gap year. But yeah. But you can always like and the uncertainty of taking a gap year, it doesn't necessarily have to be there because you can still apply at the same time as your friends, but you can just defer your offers. Like you still have an offer, you just start school the next year. And if within that year or within the, I don't know, 5 6 months that you are on your gap year, you decide you want to do something else, then go ahead, apply for something else. You still have that offer that you deferred in your pocket as like a backup. So you know that no matter what happens, you still have something to fall back to. So don't be scared, I guess.
Wise words.
Wise words, as always, by Janet.
Yes.
Thank you. I think if we want, this is like a nice place to wrap up. And then the next one we could do like a uni.
Yeah, like start of uni.
Yeah,
sort
this
of
is like the first
recap.
5 months of our hiatus, and then the next one is like the next 5 months of our hiatus.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good
Sure.
plan.
Sure.
And we need to work on our transitions. Ugh.
Mhm.
That's okay. You can't blame us. We haven't done this in 10 months.
A bit rusty,
So-
We're rusty.
So rusty. Okay. Then should we wrap it up?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh my god, we give recommendations. That's what I remember.
Facts.
Yo.
I'll recommend something from the Janet from like 5 months ago, what she would have recommended. But
Okay.
I don't remember.
What do I recommend?
I actually wrote a list for my podcast
Damn.
recommendations, but we stopped filming. So I'll just read the list.
You can just
the
read
one
it.
thing
Yeah.
from the list from Rachel from a year ago. Rachel from a year ago recommends Forest, the app. Because it was exam
No, I
We
think you
were
period.
recommended
studying back
that.
then.
Oh,
I think
really?
you
I
I'm pretty sure
didn't.
you did
Oh,
talk about it. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
you did. And you told me
Yeah.
about the free version because I refused to pay.
I have the free version too.
It was like fauna or some shit.
Yeah, but I don't use it anymore because I'm lazy and
Same.
I don't like study as hard, I guess.
Same.
I can't think of any other recommendations.
But I've got a recommendation related to, I guess, my summer state.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my recommendation is don't just take pictures, take videos. Like when you're trying to capture your memories, because well, for those of you that do follow me, I don't know if any of you follow me. Well, you two obviously do on Instagram. I made like a little like summer recap video thing. And like, you know, just to remember my summer. And I did that in video form. Well, I just said video, obviously it's in video form. But it's just like short clips of little things that happened. And looking back while I was making the video, I think it was so fun watching the videos instead of just looking at pictures. Like obviously pictures has its merits, but I think video, like capturing like the audio, the movements, I think it just brings everything to life. And it's personally, I think it's much more valuable almost. So my recommendation is don't just take pictures, take more videos of what's happening around you. And you won't regret it because looking back is very fun.
Wise words. Yet again. Yo, I don't even know if I have a recommendation. Damn. Okay, my recommendation is that if you're like living in dorms or if you're like living in a new house that's not your own house, get a damn water filter. Get this
Huh?
like yeah, the Brita water filter. Like some people here drink normal tap water and it is disgusting. It has a taste and it is so disgusting. Like what are you putting in your bodies? What are you putting in your bodies? You don't know what you're putting in your bodies.
I'm laughing because I drink tap water.
Me too.
Ew, disgusting. So
Wait,
get
Rachel,
a damn
you drink
water
tap water?
filter.
You're in Hong Kong.
Like the distilled. I don't boil
Oh.
it again.
Okay, but that's if it's like
Yeah, but you have
distilled
a
already, then
filter
that's
already.
fine.
Okay.
Like it's
I
filtered
straight
water,
up
you
drink
know.
from the tap.
That is the problem.
No, sorry. If I straight up drink from the tap, I want to clarify. I don't mean I put my mouth to the tap and drink it. But I
Okay, we
put the
know
water
that.
in my. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I just drink the tap water. Like
Yeah,
it says
know.
drinking water, so I'm like, okay, fine. I'll
Okay,
just
but-
drink from
but-
the tap. And I've got. At first, I didn't like the taste, but now I drink it, and I have friends who have the filter. I drink their water, and I was like, why is there no taste to this water?
that is the point. Water's supposed to have no taste. Unless it's from the fucking mountains, okay?
Convenience, you know? I've gotten used to it. People say hard water is bad for your skin, though. But I don't know.
Don't drink tap water. That's disgusting. Unless you have a filter. The Brita filter. And it is relatively not that expensive. This was like 11 pounds. More or less.
Yeah, and if you want to hear more about our dorm recommendations, check out our next episode.
Is that your recommendation, Rachel? For people to listen to our next episode.
They should. They should.
We'll give more dorm stuff recommendations in the next episode. And I guess this episode will come to an end then. Shall we say bye?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.